Hello, everybody. Welcome back on MDG Media. This is the first intro, first video for the past few months. As you can see, I have two guests called Redalen and Sullivan Tipton. How are you guys doing?
You said it so well.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I was a bit stressed about this. So,
Good.
so yeah, it's the first podcast since I think 24. It's a bit random, like on the flow. We might like have a series coming. We are not sure yet. We'll see how it works. But yeah, we are at Preserve in Minnesota. We have the double championship coming this weekend. We are Tuesday. Have you had like one practice round yet?
Yeah, we just finished our first practice round of the week, really, and
Yeah.
I feel like it went pretty well. Just kind of getting the feel of things, figuring out game plan, stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a good time.
So the goal, obviously, compared to a normal event, is you just like practice every day together on the course.
Yeah, specifically for this one because we're doubles partners
Yeah.
and we're becoming a team this week. I think we're going to be taken to the course together mostly. Thankfully, between our games, they complement each other very well. So game planning hasn't been too difficult. It's just about making sure that we're executing and then seeing when we can get extra aggressive.
Because you just said it, but like I think when we think about all the duos, like you're one of the best, knowing that you have the best forehand on tour, almost. You're the best.
Yeah.
We know. And then you have one of the best backhand. And so,
Sure.
how do you say that? Complement? Complement? Is it the right
Complimentary.
way?
Yeah.
Complementary.
Yes.
Voilà. I'm learning English at the same time. So yeah, you're definitely one of the strongest team. Um, so we were just talking before the podcast, probably top three. You were confident off the tee also, and you were talking game plan, like analyzing the course. Like, can you just give us some insights of like what the plan would be, like how you think about everything for the 3 days of tournament?
Yeah, really like stepping up today in practice, we would get to the tee box and we kind of already knew who was going to play that hole. We definitely have different styles, but like we said, they bounce off each other. They work really well. So big backhand holes were like, Cole, you got this one. You're going to put us in position. We get to like a more maybe big forehand, more technical forehand. So I'm going to take these and really just play to our strengths. The first 2 days of the event are our best shot. So we were still just going to play our own game, best shot, get the birdies, work off each other. But really, it's the final day is what we're really planning for.
Yeah.
Is alternate shot, and that's where the most game planning for this week is really coming down to, deciding who's going to throw that shot on that tee pad. So most of the game plan is really for Sunday alone.
And the alternate is so we alternate off the tee, so it's not
Mhm.
like every shot
Yes.
that's the plan.
So both every team, both players have to tee off 9 times.
Okay.
So that's part of it is I believe right now where we sit is I'm teeing off 5 times on the front 9, he's teeing off 4 times, and on the back 9 I'll be teeing off 4 times.
Okay.
He'll be teeing off 5
Mhm.
times.
Amazing. Interesting.
Yeah.
So we were also saying, so the course, the scores separation is not like huge on this course. So we expect to have teams very close from each other.
Absolutely.
Which teams would you be the most scared of? If scared is not the right word, but I'm Belgian, so you can understand.
Yeah, I'm not scared of anyone, but the teams that I think can produce some like really, really hot, low scores, obviously Gannon and Calvin is probably what everyone's picking. It's probably like the favorite team going into the week. Just that duo is just really lethal. Just great drives, two great players together. I think we're also talking Ricky and Adam.
Absolutely.
Have another really, really good team. Both have good forehands. Both have good backhands. And so yeah, it's just going to come down to I think execution. Just
Yep.
throwing the shots, great that day. And really the final day alternate shot because I think we'll see so many teams just shooting lights out the first 2 days, but then alternate shot. Both players got to be playing well to win.
Yep.
Excellent, excellent. So this tournament is on tour for a couple of years now. Like, would you say it's one of the your favorite course? Like, do you like it? Where is it in your like standings if you have to do like a course standing on tour if
You're
you're
talking
able
about like
to
the
do it?
preserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the preserve is a really really good disc golf course. I enjoy coming here. For me, I might have some bias a little bit. I've played well at this event. I feel like it suits my game pretty well. Minneapolis, one, has got a great disc golf scene of a lot of courses, great fans, and so that always helps make the event amazing. But yeah, I think we've seen the preserve grow over time. The first year, just no OB, a little bit more open, just throw, not a ton of score separation, to where it is now, like a lot of OB, a lot more harder holes. And so every year, the preserve keeps getting better and better. And so I would definitely rank it as one of the better courses on tour for me. I wouldn't say it's like, my absolute favorite on tour, but I enjoy coming here and playing.
I like throwing some big shots out here too. I think it allows you to open up a little bit and not worry about trees in your way and too many OB lines. There's definitely they've shrunken the fairways this year with the doubles event and everything, but being able to let loose some pure hyzers is a ton of fun and throwing some big shots. But I think it's a lot of fair golf out here, which is I'm a huge fan of as well. You're not going to get yourself into trouble where the course really puts you there. If you mess up a shot, you did, and I think that's the beauty of it. While it might be play as one of the easier courses of the year, but you add some wind to this place, and it can bite you.
You think like on the best shot days, like we are going to see 18 downs? Like that's what we are expecting, or what do you think?
It's gonna be close.
Yeah. 100%.
18 is doable. It's out there for sure, especially with the group pairings that we have this week.
Yeah.
18 is definitely in reason, but they still have to be on that day. I think one of the new changes, 15, it's gonna be hard to get.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the
Even
holes.
for double team.
Even for
Yes.
doubles,
Okay.
it's just it's a unique hole, a unique shot that you have to throw, very specific. And one, you have to be in the perfect landing zone, like 500 feet off the fairway already. And so, so that one's gonna be interesting to see. I think we'll see a lot of pars on that hole. It maybe some bogeys with the Mando, but I think majority pars on that. And so
So you would see bogeys on that hole even for a doubles team.
potentially maybe on
That's-
alternate shot day, maybe not. I mean,
Yeah.
you never know. Like things can happen. Two players can throw both bad shots. You never know.
Yeah.
But I think when you see birdies on that hole, they're probably making a C2.
The most gameplay, I believe, is going to happen on Sunday. I think that's where the most shifting
again.
is going to take place because it's going to show the true colors of each team. But Friday and Saturday, as far as we know, are going to be sprints to get birdies. I think birdie might become the par for the first 2 days. So everybody's going to need to be locked in, and it's going to take two to make a mistake in order to miss a hole for
Yeah.
sure.
Because it's our first time, as you know, but it's the first time we are in the US, so
Yeah.
I've never played this course. But from what I saw in the past few years, it's a scoreable course,
Yeah.
even for a single tournament. So yeah, I'm expecting and hoping to see that, obviously.
It'll be a fun weekend to watch, and I'm more excited. I'm excited to play it, but also for the fans, I believe it's going to be very entertaining. There's going to be a lot of really awesome big shots. I love our gameplay because he's got a big forehand, but I also have a really big backhand. So if he's able to put us in good position during the best shot rounds, I might not play as safe and be able to get aggressive. So I think that's going to be the fun part. Is there's going to be a lot of highlights.
Okay, and so this tournament is leading everybody to Worlds. Obviously, it's the next tournament. We have enough week in between, but it's a 5 days event, so everybody wants to be there early. Do you think this tournament is like a nice prep to Worlds? From a discussion I had with I don't remember who last week, but we were saying I was hearing that for Paul Macbeth, for example, skipping this event, it would have been nice to have him here because he would have been able to test his game, knowing he's in a double team and everything. So what do you think about like doubles tournament before Worlds coming in the next few days, let's say?
Yeah, I don't know if it's too much of a difference for prepping for Worlds than like a normal tournament. Both tournaments are get you in that mindset of competing, trying to win. And so I don't personally see a difference between a doubles or a singles event before Worlds. I think the off week leading up into it, prep on the course next week is going to be the most important thing for Worlds. But I think it's like a little bit nice shift right before Worlds. It's I think it's a different mindset this week.
For sure.
And so it's a nice, just different pace too. And so
And it's the first time on tour also.
yeah. And
So
so
it's
I
pretty cool.
think at the end of this event, we'll probably know better how it feels and stuff like that.
I also think too, like Sully said, different mindset coming into this week. Now somebody else is relying on you as well, and so I think there's some added motivation and even pressure that you can put on yourself to lock in a little bit extra. Not that you shouldn't already do that for a singles event, but now that your mistakes affect others as well, I believe it really allows you to figure some things out. Yeah.
So before going into Worlds in the future, I also want to talk about like the season so far, let's say. Like I checked a few stats before, the podcast and everything, and like it's quite different. Um, so you are a bit more consistent, let's say. I saw you being more in top 12. I think you played 14 events, if I don't mistake, and you were out of the top 20 just 3 times, which is awesome. Cole, in the other hand, like you had a slow start, then winning this event in Kansas City. So like, how do you guys feel about the season so far?
Yeah, I think this year, like you said, just been consistent, just continuing just throwing my shots. I think with throwing more forehands, I can be a little bit more consistent, just looking at the fairway most of the times. But yeah, it's been a great year, just enjoying playing the disc golf. But yeah, I know at any moment like Cole can pop off though. He can pop off and be in
That's
contention week on week after, just at any course. When he's on, he's one of the best out here, and so that can happen any week.
no, and no, that's obvious, huh? And I hope when I say like consistency, like you were a bit slower, but I think you have that victory in Kansas, and you're like, I'm not sure exactly now. Like, are you 15th, 14th in the standings? I'm not sure anymore.
I believe
I checked.
I know I'm somewhere in the top 20 of the standings, but
Hopefully I have it here.
for myself, definitely a very slow start to the year. I've been making some angle control adjustments in
Okay.
the last off season and going from a nose up throw to a nose down throw. I've dealt with injury in the past, so my body and also my game has gone through a lot of change, and that's brought some inconsistencies. But you also see the ceiling, right? And
Oh
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's what I strive for is I want that ceiling to be high, and I also want my floor to raise as well. So I'm gonna be inconsistent. I'm gonna have some rough tournaments, but I'm always figuring things out. I'm always refining, and I believe that's kind of what playing to win is looking like. It's
Exactly.
like it's not being complacent with where you are, and if you don't like something and you think it can improve, I don't think there's anything wrong with even taking a step back to take those two forward. And so I think that's where my inconsistencies come from, is always just looking at self-reflection on the course. But I also have that belief showing up the next week that if I'm playing well, then I have what it takes to stick around at the top.
No, definitely. Because I was going to ask, like, how
Yeah.
did you feel? How were you feeling in your early season? Like the first event was 84th, and then step by step, like going better and better and better,
Yeah.
leading to that like victory. Like, was there some doubt? So, like, as you were saying, you were just working, some stuff out, and so you were just confident to go back to normal at some point.
Yeah, I believe the biggest thing in that was I showed up to the start of the season extremely confident. I had
Okay.
a great off season. I was a lot stronger, and I had again, worked a lot on my technique, and I was feeling great. And I took like 80th at Supreme Flight, and I just came out of nowhere. It's like, okay, hold on, there's more to this than So I think just from there, it required me to just, and maybe at home too, when you play your local courses so much in the off season, you get comfortable with some stock shots, and then tour just kind of bends you just enough to really show you the inconsistencies. So I think, yeah, I mean, making those adjustments, it was easier at home because there was so much room for error on the local courses, and I was shooting course records in the off season back home for myself. But then you get up on tour and it's like, okay, hold on, these changes aren't fully refined yet. And I think that's where that process came in, was every tournament I just found something else click, and then something else clicked, and then something else clicked. And like I said, that belief never left, right? So as soon as Kansas rolled around and the game started to feel really confident, yeah, just put my foot to pedal to the metal.
So far, Kansas City, best moment of your season, you would say?
I wouldn't say it's the best moment of my season. I mean, it's great to come on top as a winner. I mean, best moment as far as being a champion,
Yeah.
absolutely. But obviously, with how that tournament ended, it was difficult, and there's the controversy around it with the tour and everything made it difficult to accept it as much a glorious moment as you would want it to be. But I'd say more so than anything, the second place at the Ale Open was probably one of my more prouder moments.
Okay, I was
Coming
gonna
down the
say.
stretch, sticking in it. I mean, Ricky played lights out, and he was really looking unbeatable coming down the stretch. But throwing some clutch shots, answering how the pressure that he was putting on me multiple times throughout that round, it revealed a lot to myself and allowed me to really build some confidence underneath that pressure and mentally as well. I was honestly more proud of that second place finishing out,
That was a great one.
than
Great battle.
than the tournament just kind of being handed to me in Kansas. So, yeah.
And so, Sully, we saw you going very close from victory at this Mania Challenge.
Mhm.
With like a couple days, between, there and now. Like, how do you see this this end of tournament? Where we were all rooting and we were so happy and we were behind you, and it's just like we were seeing you super confident, super. You were handling the pressure amazingly well,
Mm.
and then like maybe talk about those last holes where how did you feel if you're able
The
to?
ledge
Yeah.
stone.
You talking about
The
ledge
Yes.
Yeah,
the ledge stone.
the
Yes.
ledgestone.
Yeah,
My
ledgestone.
bad.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that whole week I was just throwing the disc so well. It was really cool. Like, I didn't make any spectacular putts the entire week just because I was putting it close to the basket. And for me, like when I have my best weeks, it's when I don't have to putt. It's when my disc is really close to the basket. And yeah, coming down the stretch, I felt good. Even on 17, I felt like I threw a good shot. It did get a little bit of a wind lift. It did get a bounce off the ground, but I committed to the shot that I wanted to throw. Yeah, it was just unfortunate lift, bounce, and then yeah, I saw a lot of comments about like why I run that putt, and you know, when you're in the mindset of just playing to win, you don't really think about too much about what could go wrong, and yeah, I putted, had that head right to left, just lift a little bit OB. If I go back to that situation, I'd run it again every single time. And yeah, I think I learned a lot from that. I learned what it felt like to try to gain some strokes final round. Felt like what it felt like to finally have that lead coming into stretch, but then also learn what it's like to not get that win. To fail. And I think failure brings out a lot of things in someone, like how you respond to that, how you react. I think a lot of people can just like feel bad about yourself, about I deserved it, whatever. But no, I got to finish, and it teaches you a lot, just how to respond to that. I think failure brings a response, and keeping your head up, coming up the next week to Dismania Challenge and getting a fourth place. I didn't get upset, cry about Ledgestone, but no, the next week came out there and got another good finish. And so the bounce back, the response too, I think is more important. And so yeah, it's all lessons learned, all good things. And so I look back at that week as a success and not as a failure. And so learned a lot from it.
I was going to ask like two top fives
Mhm.
within the last two events. Like, would you say your game is at his peak at the moment? Like, if you see on an overall view, of the season so far, like,
Yeah.
do you feel like confident, very strong with your game at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything just feels very consistent. Like it's very repeatable right now. I think there's a lot of times I've had weeks where I play really, really good, but sometimes in my head it doesn't really feel like I can repeat that again. And right now it just feels like I can just continue doing that over and over again. And I think a lot of that has to do with just like even just the life outside of disc golf too. Just consistent in the gym, consistent in what I eat, consistent in my health, body performance, consistent in the word, just my life in general. I'm trying to keep at a consistent pace, and I've seen that really in the last year when I've kind of changed my habits of health, stuff like that, where I've seen a transition in my game to being more consistent. And so it's how I live my life outside of disc golf. It's transitioned to my disc golf game of being consistent in one thing, consistent in another. And so, yeah, a man who's faithful in little will be faithful in a lot. And so I've just been seeing that translate so much in just everyday life too, and just in disc golf as well.
The first thing, when I saw you after Ledgestone, I asked you like what the schedule is after a tournament, and he answered me, gym and food. And that was, that's the kind of like you're explaining, and we had that kind of discussion, with Ali. I had those discussions with you and with Sully also, but we were talking about like those hard moments, and the most important thing is how you answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like from everything we discussed, everything you do also in your daily life, and from what we did like from the past few weeks, it's quite impressive to see. So well, I need to say it. Yeah. Um, so we discussed like the season so far. We've had like a point of view like on the tournament right now. Like what I want to focus on is I had a hard time finding stats. Maybe I'm very dumb, but I had like a hard time like finding stats from the past few seasons. But we were discussing before the podcast with Hugo, and just like realizing that you're becoming more and more. Allez, it's the new generation of these golfers. Like you're young, you're on tour now for the past few years. You're like more and more consistently on top of the game, like top 20 very easily and comfortably at the moment, and top 10 definitely is there if you're like playing good. Um, so how do you see yourselves? If you like are able to go out of your body and see like the past few years and then now, and how do you consider yourself as a player now, and then what is the plan for the next few years, seeing yourself on tour right now?
Yeah, I can start with that. I mean, I feel like this is my 6th year on the tour, so not a veteran by any means, but I've been out here for a little while now, and so you get to learn a lot more about yourself and understand what you value in your game. And I think the biggest thing for me is every year something has changed big in my life, either how I've traveled or who I'm sharing that travel time with, and now even this year getting
Yeah.
engaged and planning a wedding this off season and all of those things. My goals in life are bigger than disc golf, are bigger than winning tournaments. That doesn't mean I put any less effort to win tournaments, but I believe the end goal for my life is to have a family someday, and that's what I'm going to strive for, and the success in my career can hopefully pave a way for that to happen. But so, even just some growth things that I want to see for myself in the next couple years is I want to get more consistent in the gym, be more consistent, in my daily time with the Lord, and those types of things. And God, Jesus is number one in my life, and that's the most important thing that I'll carry for the rest of my life. But putting my wife, second to the Lord, and then also my health third to that, and my friends. So I think you have to really value the personal part of being an athlete before you can value being the athlete itself. And so I think that's one of my goals moving forward in the future, and even in this game, is make sure that I'm playing for the right reasons, and that I'm able to continue growing.
Oh, strong words. Strong
Yeah.
words. Beautiful.
Yeah, really well. Yeah, like me, it's technically I guess it's my 5th year on tour, but it's really only my 2nd year full tour, and so like my first 3 years of tour, I was in school, flying to events, flying back to school, playing an event, writing papers at night, not like trying to compete, but also had other things that were taking up a ton of my time too. And so I think I saw a big shift after college, transitioning to disc golf full time. And that was like the year I made the biggest jump of just really focusing on disc golf as like what I'm doing, not just school. And so that's where I kind of saw the biggest things. And when I look back to like my first year on tour, I had all the shots. I had the big forehand. My backhand's definitely progressed and gotten better. But it's just the ability to not mess up as much is what I've seen. I think that's where like just maybe playing the courses more often. Being not I'm not a veteran by any means at all, but just getting more looks at the courses. Trying it different many times, but just understanding courses helps a lot too. Like where not to be after being there a lot, and so yeah, just being on tour is I've definitely seen changes in that way, but yeah, just really just kind of what I talked about already. Just taking a change in my body, my health, making that like a big consistent thing. And like Cole said, obviously like my faith is like the biggest thing in my life that always pushes me. That's like our number one reason why we're out on tour, while we're playing. And so yeah, it's been great.
Sometimes from interactions I could have had in the past, like I felt like faith could be a bit taboo on tour. Not just on tour, but like from a European perspective, where religion is not as big in Europe than here. I've discovered that, and I had a lot of discussions with you guys again about that. And you were, we had that discussion about, we're on tour, we're playing disc golf, and whatever happens, if I'm faithful and if I do my job, my part, to spread that word and to be committed to that, to Lord, like but everything is fine. In the end, like everything is fine. And so, I want to, my question won't be clear probably, but it's just, I've been impressed by what it can bring, to the table, and the peace it can bring. And so when you are on tour, you're playing disc golf, like, do you find time to like just do everything you want regarding, that matter, on a daily basis?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I think I think one thing that really helps us as Christians on tour is we don't have to worry. I mean, we think about these other things, but we don't have to worry about disc golf bringing us happiness. We don't have to rely on good finishes. We don't have to rely on winning a tournament to bring success for our lives. And so, like, yeah, like monetary things, financial things, emotional things are big things that we think about. But those aren't our things that we place at the highest for our lives. And that's where faith comes into hand a little bit here is like our treasure isn't within disc golf. We're not searching that fame. We're not searching that glory. Those things come and are nice too, but even if we don't have the wins, we don't have the good finishes, that doesn't change anything about our lives as a Christian because our Savior has us. Our eternal blessing is to be with Him one day, and so that also takes like pressure off of us a little bit too. I'm not out here having to win, having to show, or having to like let people know who I am as a disc golfer, because at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. Like that's what we do, but our identity is within Christ, not within disc golf. And so, yeah, it takes off pressure for us. It lets us play freely. I mean, there's always gonna be stress coming down the stretch or something like that. But yeah, it plays a huge part in our lives, and it transitions into our disc golf for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, a big part of my faith walk is to having a purpose in life, and the purpose of being a Christian is to spread the love and peace that He gives us to other people. And that's the biggest blessing that we have, is we believe the Lord has us here to spread that to other people, and because that is what we hold highest in our lives. And so to have that purpose and to walk it out, it takes it really does take the pressure off of the disc golf, off of competing super well every week. And it gives me some more peace, even as a player who is really self-critical and really wants to work on things and get better, to just have peace in that process, rather than just be like, I have to play good this next, I have to play good this, like that becomes really exhausting. And financially that's stressful, mentally that's stressful, in all every sorts of ways. And so to be able to hold your faith at the highest point is so crucial. And then yeah, it does, like as Sully said, it does not make the pressure any less difficult. But anytime in the years past where I've been fortunate enough to come out on top of one of these tournaments, it's a huge part of what I'm thinking about coming down the stretch. And just no matter what, I am secure in the work that He's done for us. And that's the most beautiful part in any of this. It's not life or death. It's not out here whether you lose a tournament. It's not you're a terrible person or you're a choker. It's not you're the best of the best and the GOAT. It doesn't have to be that way, right? You are, who God created you to be, and that's the most beautiful thing, is to live in that.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. So do you see, it's kind of like, I see that as an ending. Like I love this, I love the way it brings you joy and less pressure, of everything we are like going through on tour. But so final two questions would be like, do you see yourselves do that for the next 10, 15? Like, you don't know, is there a plan? Is like, do you see yourself like touring for the next decade, let's say?
Yeah, I think for me, as long as I'm competing at the highest level, I'd love to keep touring. Like it's amazing. If God brings a plan for me to go a different route, I'm all for it. Right now, if I think I'm where I'm at supposed to be right now, and I think God's doing things in my life here, and there's a purpose here, and it's been amazing. And so yeah, I don't know what it's gonna look like 10, 15 years down the road. I would love to be playing disc golf, and so but also know that life can change fast.
Yeah.
Things can always happen. Health can always happen, injuries can always happen,
Yeah.
different life situations, scenarios can always happen, and so I know whatever happens. My purpose is spreading the word of God, and so this is just my mission field. This is just where I'm at. And so, yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, disc golf brings so much joy, and it's brought me to meet so many new people. It's brought me to meet you, Max, someone who's from Belgium. Got to meet Max, got to go to his house in Belgium, spend some time with him, and yeah, the relationships that we've met through disc golf have just been amazing. It's so unique. The community that's out here, it's unlike anything ever, and yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, wherever the Lord takes me, I'll be happy with, and right here, it's been amazing so far.
Yeah, and for me, I echo very similarly with what Sully is saying, and just that I want to be out here for as long as I can be as well, and the Lord's blessed me with having a beautiful wife someday, and that's going to be really exciting as well, and carrying out that purpose in marriage. But just yeah, she pursues disc golf as well. She plays on the FPO side, and that's really exciting for both of us to both pursue a purposeful career together, and be in this mission field like Sully's saying, and just be where God has us for the relationships that He's brought us to, and yeah, not only to make an impact on other people's lives, but be open to the impacts that He wants to have on our lives as well. So I hope to be out here for as long as I can be. And traveling was not my first choice. Growing up, I did not really want to travel. I've always been kind of, my parents have always just been big homies, and but other than that, I mean,
They are homies.
Yep, they are homies. My parents are my homies. Trust, yeah. But no, it's a beautiful lifestyle that I think we've totally embraced, and just thankful to continue doing it.
And that's a question I ask myself quite often, but trying to always question myself about what I'm doing currently, and disc golf, is disc golf like still making me happy, because it like changed my life. As you were saying, like, community is great, it's growing, you meet a lot of people, traveling is amazing. Obviously everybody doesn't like it, but discovering the world is probably something that like makes anybody evolve. Do you think like disc golf brought joy and happiness in your life? Definitely so far.
Yeah, it's definitely been one of the things that have brought some joy and happiness. I mean, disc golf has brought me so many memories. It's brought me so many friends, so many lifelong friends, and it's incredible. Like, looking back, I don't know, like 6 years ago, like when I really started tournaments, and seeing all the people that I've met along the way, seeing how our relationships have grown deeper and deeper year in, year out. It's been amazing. Like, there's some guys now that I could call anytime. Just you call them, say, hey man, like I need a place to stay, or like I'm on my way, I'm in town or something. Like, they'd welcome me in. It's been amazing. So like the community has been awesome within disc golf, and so yeah, like disc golf is definitely like one of the things that has for sure brought joy, happiness, and so yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and just to echo that as well. I mean, I believe we see this game very similarly, and it's brought me a lot of happiness and joy as well. It's a beautiful thing playing a sport for your job, because there's always room to improve. There's always room to grow. You're always doing something new, figuring out something new, and challenging yourself. And I think that's the coolest part, is just the journey of doing this. And so, it makes the times that you win and come out on top so much sweeter, because of how long of a journey and process it is. But also when things are low, like Sully's saying, the opportunity to meet so many different people from so many different places. I mean, I'm 21 years old, and I've already been to Europe twice and driven across the United States multiple times a year for the last 5 years. And so to see so many parts of the world, meet so many different types of people you call up a year later you haven't talked to in a year, and they welcome you with open arms, is just an amazing thing and experiences that I never hopefully have to give up.
You're 21. That's crazy. And you're touring for the past 6 years. It's crazy. So you were on tour at 15. That's what you're saying?
My first tour event, I was 16 years old in 2021. Yeah,
So
the Las
okay.
Vegas Challenge.
Crazy. So yeah, I don't want to make it like too long. I think it was amazing. Like thank you for all these. Like it's not the allez, I try to be the same as when there is cameras or not. It's not as easy, and it's gonna be on the internet or whatever. But like thank you for sharing. I think it's pretty cool, and it motivates me to do some other episodes. It's really nice. We are going to follow you for the rest of the week also, so it's gonna be pretty interesting. If you can win for the cameras, it would be nice.
That'd be great.
And if you have like a last word, if you want to thank somebody or like anybody shoot out, you can.
Yeah, man. I just
go for it.
want to thank you, Max. I mean,
Yeah.
giving this podcast. I know the people at home watching this. Like, I spent like almost 3 weeks with Max in Europe, and this guy right here might be like one of the funniest guys I've ever met in the world. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so being here on the podcast with him, like our friendship has grown the last couple of weeks, and yeah, there's like type of things that I look back on tour. And like, yeah, I still remember some of my good finishes and stuff from years past, but man, dude, I remember like the fun times, like just the relationships that I've met along the way, the times that we spent in Europe together. Like those are the things that I really remember more than any like finishes or anything like that. And so I appreciate that, Max.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you. And you know, I spent my first week kind of getting to know you and Hugo this last
That was
week,
amazing.
and
Hugo
that was
behind the camera. There you go.
Yes.
Hugo, give it up for Hugo.
Yes,
yeah.
Hugo. Just a ton of fun, and yeah, again, thank you for this opportunity to sit down and chat, and really just give us a platform too to really show the people who we are and what we value and why we're out here. And you know, I think that's the beautiful part of our game is everybody's different, and you know, for the fans to see who we are as individuals rather than just the competitors that we are out there. You know, a lot of these guys on the tour are some of the most competitive people you'll ever meet, and so you know, to see these personalities shine, you know, on a more casual side of the camera is really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
I'm so happy. So
Totally.
guys, it's the end for this one. So we are at Preserve. You're gonna see this podcast for this week, and we'll have the tournament this weekend, and we hope to do that again at Worlds or something. We'll see.
I
Thank
say
you.
you can follow me, Cole Redalen, on Instagram, Sully Disc Golf.
Sully_disc golf.
Yeah, on Instagram as well. So please follow our journey, guys.
Yes, sir.
And
And you're gonna follow them. Huh? I can tell you that. You're gonna love it.
awesome.
Peace.